Hungary says it's blocking new EU sanctions on Moscow and a huge loan to Ukraine unless Russian oil supplies to its territory are restored. EU foreign ministers are gathering in Brussels hoping to finalise the sanctions and approve a $106 billion loan to Kyiv. Now, the bloc has significantly reduced its dependence on Russian energy since the start of the war in Ukraine. But Hungary and Slovakia still have a temporary exemption from an EU policy prohibiting Russian imports. Budapest has accused Ukraine of deliberately delaying oil supplies ahead of Hungary's parliamentary elections in April. Peter Zato is Hungary's foreign minister, and he's doubled down on his threats to block the $106 billion loan to Ukraine and new sanctions on Russia.
We are not agreeing with passing the 20th package because Ukraine decided not to restart the oil deliveries to Hungary, with which they do endanger our energy security. This is it, and no one has the right to put our energy security at risk because it's an issue of national sovereignty. The Adrushba pipeline has not been hit by any Russian attack. The pipeline itself has not been harmed, and currently there is no physical reason and no physical obstacle to restart the deliveries. That's it. It's purely a political decision by Ukraine.
Overnight on Sunday, Ukraine attacked the crucial Kalyenko oil pumping station in Russia's Tarasan region. It's where Russian oil is blended before being exported. The station also maintains the continuous pressure needed to send oil along the pipeline. Damage to the facility will directly affect Russia's war economy. Oil and gas revenues account for roughly a third of the Russian federal budget, which funds the war against Ukraine. Kalyenko is an important starting point in the chain that delivers resources to European markets. Germany's foreign minister says he's shocked by Hungary's warnings.
I am surprised by Hungary's position. We will discuss this with our Hungarian colleagues. I do not believe it is right for Hungary to betray its own struggle for freedom and European sovereignty.
The EU's top diplomat Kalyano says she doesn't expect the new sanctions on Russia to pass.
We have heard some very strong statements from Hungary. That's why I don't really, see that they are going to change this, unfortunately, today, this position that they have.
Maximilian Hess is a fellow at the Foreign Policy Research Institute and founder of political risk firm Enmetena Advisory. He's joining us live from London. Thank you very much indeed for being with us. How much could Hungary's demand throw a wrench into what are already very tense negotiations?
Well, thank you for having me. Hungary certainly already has thrown a wrench into these negotiations. It is delaying the anniversary package, the 20th package that would be set to be announced tomorrow on the 24th of February, the 4-year anniversary of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. And that 90 billion euro, roughly $106 billion loan for Ukraine is crucial for keeping Kyiv able to continue financing itself going forward in this conflict. And remember, that package itself was only agreed as a stopgap measure when other European countries delayed the process of securing funding over Russia's frozen assets, which are largely in Belgium, around $200 billion worth of them back in December. So Hungary is certainly acting in a very sharp manner at a particularly disadvantageous time for Kyiv. However, we have seen it repeatedly threaten such actions before. It has almost always rolled over on them. But with the Hungarian election approaching on the 12th of April, this is really crunch time, and I think we might see Budapest resist quite a bit longer than it has in the past.
If Hungary and Slovakia still have a temporary exemption from that EU policy prohibiting Russian imports, and yet they are seeing their oil supplies beginning to dwindle, and as you were talking about, ahead of elections, particularly in Hungary, don't they have a point? Don't they have a reason to be concerned?
The reason that they are concerned is because their governments have actively chosen and lobbied for that exemption to continue buying Russian oil. Hungary has most particularly signed agreements even after the full-scale invasion to buy more Russian oil. Now, they've both weaned themselves largely off of Russian gas as well in that time. And Hungary in particular also has investments in the oil pipeline infrastructure of a number of its neighbors in Croatia, looking to invest in Serbia as well. And there's a deep and well-integrated pipeline network there. So it can buy oil from other sources, but they have chosen to do so from Vladimir Putin and to continue funding that war machine.
Kaja Kallas from the EU was saying that she doesn't expect those sanctions on Russia to pass. Is there a risk that the EU's, what passes for unity within the EU, is beginning to fracture ahead of these kind of pressures?
Well, I do think that ultimately Hungary will fold on these issues again. It has repeatedly throughout the last 4 years, usually seeks some kind of unfreezing of its own funds for rule of law violations or the like from Brussels in a tit-for-tat measure. Now, the Hungarian government looks like, according to at least independent polls, it could lose the 12th of April elections. The opposition has vowed to take a much stronger stance in favor of European unity and defending Ukraine. So for Prime Minister Viktor Orban, he's trying to make this a domestic political issue, and he wants to blame his own economic difficulties on Ukraine in a bit of boosting his chances at those elections. And this is going to be a very tight moment, but it is political, not driven by a fundamental economic crisis.
Really appreciate you giving us the benefit of your expertise in this. Maximilian Hess, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you for having me.
Don't miss out. Get the full picture. Subscribe to Al Jazeera for reliable news, expert insight. Like, share, stay ahead.